Hey there. Happy New Year. Today is January 1st, 2026. And in Tarot land, that means that 2026 is a Wheel of Fortune year. How do we get there? We just add all the numbers up. So 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 6 gets us to 10. And 10 in Tarot is the Wheel of Fortune. Though I want to talk a little bit about what the Wheel of Fortune means, because I think some of Wheel of Fortune's original story has a little bit been lost along the way. But before I get into that, let me tell you who I am. In case you don't know me, my name is Jenna Matlin. I am a full time tarot reader and tarot medium. I've been so since 2012. I have a book out called Will You Give Me a Reading? I don't even know if you could read this, but it looks like that. And I have another book coming out next year that I can't announce yet. I do readings, I teach classes, I do all kinds of stuff. However, for us today, I want to get into some of the history, the earliest history of tarot for the Wheel of Fortune, and also talk a little bit about what it might mean for you, knowing that you have this extra layer, and what can we do with the energy of the Wheel of Fortune. So let me get into some cards that I want to kind of bring to your attention. Okay, so this is a Wheel of Fortune from the Rider Waite Smith deck and was painted by Pamela Coleman Smith. This is the image that a lot of people are familiar with. We have the four apostles, which are defined by different books in the New Testament in the four corners. That actually has a very, very ancient mythological allegory that takes us all the way back to ancient Samaria. But that is a whole other story for a whole other time. We have the great Sphinx sitting at the top. We have Anubis arising from the bottom. We have a snake. I don't remember what that is. And you have all these like arcane symbols and stuff like that. This is very much the vibe of, of early the Golden Dawn era, the Secret Society era, where everyone thought that tarot came possibly from ancient Egypt. So there's a lot of nods to that. But the actual history of the Wheel of Fortune, as it was originally drawn and understood, was very, very different. So let's get into some of that. We have here, this is a manuscript that was drawn and painted and written by a woman in the early 15th century. And her name is Christine de Pizan. I think I'm saying that right. She was around like in the 1420s. And this is one of the images of the Wheel of Fortune when and around the time that the first Wheel of Fortune was created and put in the tarot deck. So here we see a woman with wings. That means that she is an allegory. She is not human. And she's blindfolded and she's looking right at a wheel. And on the wheel, we see four people taking four positions. So I think I'm going to get this wrong. Like, I will reign, I reign, I have reigned. And then the last one, I can't remember. Anywho, it's really about you know, don't ever get too comfortable, right? Like, no matter how big your britches are, that your time will be over. And this was something that the people of the time, coming out of a Black Plague epidemic, really understood the vagaries of fate and free will. Like, good things happen to good things happen to bad people, and bad things happen to good people. People are taken before their time. Fate comes to us all. It doesn't matter who we are or what our station of life is. And we see that also here. I really love the way, I don't know who did this piece, but I really love the way this looks because Fortune or Fortuna, which is she's an actual goddess, is drawn half in black and she's turning away, really showing that all she is the movement of the wheel. She herself, she doesn't look before she decides how to move the wheel. So it is entropy in action in many ways. It is things are going to happen and you didn't earn it, you didn't deserve it. Either way. And that's really different from the way people think about karma, that karma is at least within this lifetime, wow, my karma must have been really bad. Why do I have such bad luck? Or vice versa. Or like, oh, this is good karma because I put karma into the system. Wheel of Fortune defies any of that. There is no deserving either way. It just is. It is a force of nature. But the problem was that Lady Fortune, Fortuna, really did not sit easily in medieval Catholic thought. She kind of defied the rules. And Catholic Church tried to control her and say, well, she's working for God, or tried to condemn her. Because how do you rectify the idea that there is an all knowing God who has everything planned out for you? And versus what people saw in their daily lives, which was like, this is not adding up. So Lady Fortune, Fortuna as a goddess, somehow slipped between the cracks to become um, one of three goddesses, I think, that survived into early tarot, but she's the most obvious of the three. And so here's one of Lady Fortune who is without a blindfold, but that's an unusual way to usually depict her. But we can see here, it says, I think it says the Queen of Fortune. I think they spelled queen different, Queen, the Queen of Fortune. And so we have all kinds of people, including, look at that, all the way over to the left. There is what clearly looks like a woman with a pope's hat. And we have seen that in some of the old high priestesses, right? And we're like, wow, is that the papess? What does that mean? We're seeing something similar here. So it doesn't matter, you're rich, you're poor, you're educated, whatever, the wheel comes for us all. So this is one of the earliest cards of Wheel of Fortune. The three earliest decks, I believe, if I'm correct in the history, Visconti A, B, and C. Wheel of Fortune is in all three decks, which is very rare because Visconti C only has a handful of cards. So we're really lucky. But here we see that same story. So if Christine de Pizan and all the manuscript illuminations that I just showed you were all in the maybe late 1300s throughout the 1400s, and we believe tarot was created around the first one we know of, it could be even earlier, 1445 or so, this is really striking within what is in the zeitgeist of the people at the time. And so we see here again a woman, she's on fancy clothes at the time. And here we see a young people. If this is kind of like the ages of man, perhaps, that and it's really fascinating that the wheel is sitting on the back of the elderly person, that the work of the elderly person has become the foundation for the generations to follow. I think that's really, really fascinating when you look at it. And then here's another Visconti derivative or another type with the same kind of idea. But here we see it's about your crown and your kingship. So we see that Lady Fortune has her hand on the shoulder of the person all the way over to the left. And they're looking at that crown, that she's blindfolded, but she has chosen that person to rise completely randomly. And he's looking right at that crown. And then we see that person in the rule of office at the top holding the, what is it called? The globe, which is whatever, yes, I'm the ruler. And then we see though, like, even though she has given you her permission before, that doesn't stay because Our Lady is fickle. And we see that person falling and the crown is falling off. And again, we have the old man who is at the bottom of this whole thing. Now, this is very interesting to me, and I don't know if this is done on purpose, but the earliest hermit cards, number 9, the original meaning of hermit was just the old man or even Father Time. So is this symbolic for Father Time or the hermit? Are the cards progressive in this way? I think that's a question that really deserves to be looked at a little bit more. And actually, I hadn't thought about it until right now. So if you have anything to say about that, please jump in the comments and let me know. Then we have here the Wheel of Fortune with Visconti C, of which we only have a very few of those cards. And it's very similar. Again, woman in the middle with wings and a blindfold. She's dressed very rich for the time. And again, on the back of maybe Father Time or the Old Man, we see a very similar kind of movement here. So I think these are all really, really interesting. And when we think about the Wheel of Fortune as a goddess enacting in all of our lives, what does that tell us about how we might be able to meet the moment? And where does that leave us as tarot readers? The Wheel of Fortune is really describing a divine event. And it's totally, again, something completely out of our planning, outside of any structure of deserving. It's totally random in how it bestows fortune, good or bad, and it impacts all of us. And I feel that when we are collectively coming into that Wheel of Fortune, there's a couple of ways that we can think about it. One of them is that trying to control the process is impossible. It's absolutely impossible. We can make all the plans and contingencies we want, and there will still be something that we didn't plan. And I think it's really funny because right before I went to record this, I had the biggest, most randomest problem with my microphone that didn't make any sense and just threw a monkey wrench into the whole thing. And I was like, there it is. There's that Wheel of Fortune energy. One of the things I want to mention about Wheel of Fortune is that Wheel of Fortune is a 10. So when we think about Wheel of Fortune, there's two secret other energies in play. One is magician and 0 is the fool. So we have a wheel that is turning, and the way I think about it is kind of like a battery. Like a battery has a positive and negative charge, and that battery is hooked up to something that will spin. And you need the positive energy to move, right? And then moves the wheel and then comes into the negative. And that's really at the heart of Wheel of Fortune, is that change is necessary to the whole process. And when we don't like it, that makes sense, but it is a necessary function of the universe. Without the Wheel of Fortune, we're going to be hitting that heat death of the universe in no time. Everything kind of grinds to a halt. So the innervation of that which is being manifest into the world, which is the magician, the yang energy, and then that which is unmanifest, that yin energy, that which has not here or is going back into being unmanifested yet again, is really part of the energy that we see here. So when we get these as readings, so I want to talk a little bit about the actual like nuts and bolts of a reading. For me, if the Wheel of Fortune comes up in a final outcome card or something like that, it's really frustrating, because it often for me means that the final outcome cannot be called yet, that there's still some interventionary forces that are coming in. It can mean that the outcome is so close either way, it can't call it yet, that there's some unknowability factor. If you are in a stuck place, a difficult place, the Wheel of Fortune always suggests that you're never, that it's not going to be your forever story, that great fortune can come when we least expect it, and that ultimately we're not really in control of much. And maybe we should look at how much control is an illusion. So I feel like for those of us that read tarot, that's really frustrating because we're coming to tarot because we want to know. And the universe is like saying, no, well, I can't tell you just yet. You're just going to have to let the wheel spin. So basically, that is kind of the really quick, like historical general overview of Wheel of Fortune. And every year, for the first 2 months of every year, I do a fun special reading that I don't do for the rest of the year, which is like the big picture predictive overview. And because it was going to be the Wheel of Fortune this year, I had the nutty idea to offer 90-minute sessions where you actually get to spin a wheel. And the wheel is part of the kind of reading that you will get. So there are 8 spots on here. We have tarot, Lenormand, we have Kipper deck. We have something I call mix and match. We have rune castings, we have charms, we have talismans, and like the Wheel of Fortune TV show, there is one free email reading that you could get. So each one of these is a different, using a different divinatory tool, with a different kind of divinatory perspective. And over 90 minutes, I don't know, you might be able to spin this maybe like 4, even 5 times, depending on how fast the readings move. So this is an offer I'm having only January and February. You can go to my website, which is my name, jennamatlin.com, and click through, and you will find this offering if this intrigues thee. So we are going to have some fun with this. Otherwise, the last thing I wanted to say is it's really nice to be able to apply the global tarot numerology card, and also your personal numerology card. So how do we do that? Well, there are a few different ways. The way I do is you break up your month and day of birth and apply it to this year. So my birthday is June 15th. So I would break all of this up and then add it together. So 6 plus 1 plus 5 plus 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 6 gets me to 22, which is outside of any of the major arcana. So what we do then is add 2 plus 2 together, which gets me 4. So my personal numerology for this year is the Emperor. I'm going to actually pause this and grab some cards and come right back. Okay, let me get you onto my table so we can take a look at these 2 cards. So for me, I have the Emperor is my personal card of the year. And so what do we know about the Emperor? The Emperor is about management, kind of control, trying to make everything work on time. And for where I am and about what I'm doing this year, I'm like, yes, all right, I'm not going to forget things, I'm going to be on top of it, right? But then it's like, oh no, Jenna, ha, ha, ha. Joke's on you, girl, because Wheel of Fortune is impacting that Emperor energy, right? These two are almost as opposite as you can absolutely get in terms of energies applying themselves in the weather system of my life for 2026. Now, I tend to look at your personal tarot numerology for the entire year, no matter where your birthday actually lands in the year. So if your birthday is like December 29th, I'm still reading all of 2026 with the energy of your birthday, because otherwise it gets kind of awkward. So, what do these 2 things mean? It lets me know that I, as Jenna, may want to have a stabilizing influence and may be structured to do that, but I need to be aware that things are going to get messy no matter what I plan. And so one of the things I can do is just build a bunch of contingency plans, and also be really well prepared and well planned for whatever it is that the Wheel of Fortune brings my way. It could also mean that I have been chosen by the Wheel of Fortune and that there is an elevation, right? So the traditional Wheel of Fortune, we saw the king or the emperor sitting at the top. Does that mean I'm going to be sitting at the top? That's so exciting to be thinking about. But then that means I'll fall, and I don't know if I want that. So as you see, there is this dance between personal responsibility, controlling what I can, and then letting go when I can't. And when bad things happen, sometimes they just happen. And when good things happen, sometimes they just happen too. And it's less about the thing and how we respond to the moment. So, I encourage you to try this for yourself and take a look at what these two pieces together may mean for you this year. Once again, my name is Jenna Matlin, and Happy New Year. Hope you have a great year. I hope the Wheel of Fortune turns bright for you. And if you want to book one of those little special readings with my little fun little doohickey here, like I have to pay for this little wheel, you can find me by my name and click through accordingly. I hope you enjoyed this talk. Have a great rest of your day and month. Bye.